welcome you to the November 25th, 2024 meeting of the Westport Board of Health. The meeting formally opened up earlier while we were not on camera, and so we moved through other parts of the agenda. But we are at the important part, which is a presentation from our nurse, Linda Pierce. So, Linda?
Okay. Good afternoon. This month is Emotional Awareness Month. Well, the part of the brain that is responsible for emotional awareness is the hypothalamus and the limbic cortex. Emotional awareness is the ability to understand and recognize your own emotions and the emotions of others. It's a key part of emotional intelligence. During emotional intelligence, you can learn how to use it to your advantage. Reflect on your emotions. Consider why you're feeling a certain way and what you can do about it. Consider others' emotions. Try to understand how others feel and respond appropriately. For example, if someone is sad, you could try talking to them to show empathy. Find new ways to manage your emotions. Try different approaches to perceiving, understanding, and managing your emotions. While being emotionally aware is important, being emotionally aware makes us all more aware, effective, and understanding others and addressing their needs as well as our own. 5 levels of emotional awareness are described: bodily sensations, action tendencies, single emotions, and combination of the blends. Here are some other things you can do to improve your emotional awareness. Build resilience. Develop healthy habits like eating well, exercising, and sleeping well. Take time for yourself. Do things you enjoy. Notice the things in life, and try to look at problems from a different perspective. Practice gratitude. Make a list of things you're grateful for each day. Connect with others. Surround yourself with positive people and tap into your community and social connections. Here are some pointers to get started. Take a look at the impact of your emotions. Intense emotions aren't all bad. Aim for regulation, not repression. Identify what you're feeling. Accept your emotions, all of them. Keep a mood journal. Take a deep breath. Know when to express yourself. Give yourself some space. Practice observing how you feel. Pay attention on how you behave. Take responsibility for your feelings. Be kind, be respectful, always try to do your best. We still have flu vaccines available. If you need a flu vaccine, please call 508-636-1030 to make an appointment. Please bring your medical ID card and your ID. And our next blood drive is January 16th, and we will be resuming them at St. John the Baptist Church at 945 Main Road from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Please go online to register with the American Red Cross. And I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving and be safe out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you for addressing Emotional Awareness Month. And there's a connection between emotional awareness and mental health, and also stress management.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody can relate to the idea of stress. And so being aware of what you're feeling then allows you to do things, can decrease the intensity of what you might be feeling that's adding to your stress. So it's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important, especially around the holidays, to be aware of what we're feeling when we're engaging with our loved ones that we haven't seen, or we're having discussions, because it ultimately can lead to better relationships if you are more self-aware.
I do journal every morning. I'll probably never read my journals, but it's just a way of expressing yourself and letting yourself know how you feel. And sometimes yesterday, something that seemed really bad, it's not so bad the next day. And the good thing is we got up in the morning and we're upright and we're breathing, so it's all good. Anyway, thank you for letting me do this, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
And happy Thanksgiving to you. So this is a diversion, but I noticed in the package that it included the pump out records for the
Yeah,
first
it's
time
kind
in
of
a long time.
Yeah, we don't usually, I think we were just trying to get the packets built.
Oh, okay, I
And
thought
it
there was
just
some
ended up
reason
in
you
there.
put them in. Yeah.
If you want them in from now on, we
No.
can put them in.
No,
Yeah.
I thought maybe there was something you wanted to point out to us or, whatever.
No.
And so, yeah, I was just scanning through them. Okay, so,
So, Val, we're gonna have like a 15-minute pause before our next appointment comes in.
okay, so, we're gonna discuss, the case of Lee and Diane Drossiers?
No,
No, that's not us?
it's not a 2038,
Oh,
2040.
no, okay. For some reason I did it the other way on my notes here. Okay, yes. 2038, Driftwood Realty Trust at 2038, 2040 Main Road. A 4-bedroom repair.
I see you have something for us here.
Yeah. So this is a variance hearing, and there's no required notification. Sean Leach and Garrett Malampy from Northeast Engineers, representing Cherry Stone and Driftwood Realty. This is 2038, 2040 Main Road. This is way down on the left on Main Road, about 3 houses up from the pocket truck. So here's the green cards for the abutter notification. I don't know who.
Yeah, I'll take it for that.
One of them didn't come back, but I think they're aware of what's going on.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is, there are 2 houses, 2 separate lots here at 2038, 2040 Main Road. There's no increase in flow in these, we're not proposing any new increase in flow. What we're proposing is a repair. 2038, which is the house out on the front, has a cesspool, no tank, so it needs to be upgraded appropriately. And 2040 had an existing repair septic design, which was down right next to the river,
Mm-hmm.
which we thought was not a good idea. So, to do something that would meet maximum feasible compliance and make the best situation we could out of what we've got, we're proposing a denitrification system to be shared by the 2 houses, with an Elgin leach field to also be shared by the 2 houses. We understand that there is a variance request from our own well, which is situated up in the front, and there's a variance request for the well to the north, which is Jeff Wade's house. We understand that we need to test the wells and that we're gonna, before anything, but we wanted to make sure we got approval on this before we started too far down the road of paperwork and notifications. So what we're proposing is a denitrification to be shared by both these systems and a leaching field as far away from the river as we could possibly get, and meet the total requirement for size and groundwater separation. We feel this is the best solution for these 2 houses that we could possibly come up with, short of a sewer line coming down Main River.
Okay. Matt? Any?
I agree, and I just want to say the whole shared system thing it's not considered a shared system. We just got a little confused with the ownership of it.
It's the same person, 2 different entities. It's a weird little thing, but everybody's in agreement that this is the best solution.
Yeah.
So we feel that we go forward. So we'll have to test Mr. Wade's well, which is probably being tested because his own system and the system above that is also closer to 100 feet. The separation we're asking for the lot to the south is just a property line separation, because we can't meet the 10 feet.
So, but the Driftwood Realty Trust owns both properties?
No, there's 2 different entities, there's 2 different lots, but
Oh.
one owner who had 2 different realty trusts, so to speak. So we have to do a share, I believe we have to do a share.
Oh, you do have to do a shared
Yeah,
system.
yeah,
Okay.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
I thought we talked about this earlier, so I'm sorry, it got really confusing.
Yeah, it is really
Yeah.
confusing.
So
Okay.
it's one owner who owns both entities, right?
Right, yes,
So, so I thought that qualified as disqualified it as a shared system. But if it's two different entities.
Oh, that are legal, that are the titled owners.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one owner of
Okay.
both
Yeah,
entities.
I see, okay,
Nancy left a email with us,
right,
and,
right.
and there was a lot of confusion. So I
Right,
said,
right.
I'd like to just come in and present
Okay.
at least the design, and then
Then work out the other parts.
and work out the other parts
Okay,
afterwards,
all right,
because
that's good.
we understand
Okay.
it's a little more complicated than
Okay,
just
all right, yeah,
straightforward
okay,
thing.
that's good, all right, okay. Now it's as clear as mud, that's good, all right. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, all right. So, was I wrong? Did you do a perk test or was there a
Yes.
sieve analysis?
No, a perk test.
Oh, okay, all right. 'cause
We
I
had a very good water table. It
Okay.
typically very good and very good soils for, here at Westport Point. The water table tends to be down because there is a very shallow lens of fresh water on
Okay.
this particular thing.
All right.
But
So, we're
So there's three.
approving the plan, I guess, just broadly before we get into the details, so there would be approving the plan conditioned on the compliance with the requirements of a shared system, assuming once we go through the,
Right.
I don't know if it's, so in the normal course of things, we would like be identifying each of the, you wanna
Right.
do all that part, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then just hold, okay. So, I guess I can try to do that. That makes sense. So I would move to approve,
Wait a second.
yeah. What's up?
So there's separate entities, so that there's deed restrictions, but the deed restrictions should be separate, right? So it should be a 3-bedroom deed restriction for 2038 and a 1-bedroom deed restriction for
Oh, that's
2040.
interesting.
Because it's separate entities, so if you say
Right.
a 4-bedroom deed restriction, it may seem like both places could have a 4-bedroom
Right.
house.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, that's not a
okay.
problem. There's no intent to do anything.
Yeah. And it's, so in 2038 is the 3-bedroom
Yeah.
and 2040, okay.
And then 2034, there's nobody that's in a butter for 2034 here because their well is closer than your well to the
Right.
system. It's 53 feet instead of, when yours is 67.
Right. And that's by luck, the fact that we had to squeeze basically a septic tank in between.
And who
The house.
owns that? What's the, a butter notice that we have for that? Who's the? do you know?
Jeff Wade, Jeff and Eileen Wade. I don't know if you know Jeff.
Yeah.
So is there also a waiver for that? Because I thought there was only one well setback waiver, the 67
No, there's two
feet.
wells back, so one from our own and one from the
Okay.
2034, and then the other waiver is for property line for 2042, which is to the south.
Right. Okay. Okay. But there's no waiver for the one that's the abutter? There's a third abutter?
No, there's
No,
only
okay, all right.
no, two.
There's the two properties that we're addressing now for the
Right.
shared system. And then there's a butter at 2034, that's 53 feet from the well.
Right. For 50, that's the one
So-
we're
so
asking
there-
for. We haven't asked for a waiver, and that was the notification. That's the 2034 to
Okay.
the north.
Okay. Well, the thing, the distance I had in my note was like 67 feet.
Yeah, but that's for theirs.
That's for there.
That's for our
Okay, so
own.
there are two of them, so there are two
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
setbacks.
two
Right.
setbacks.
And then
One is
there's-
for our own.
And then there's another one for 50 feet at 2034?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
This has already been the conservation too, by the way.
Oh, okay. I don't see,
Just
I don't-
add that.
Is it got a stamp on there?
There's no, it's not stamped here, so.
It is?
Are these revised in some way? If these are revised, we wish.
Only from a groundwater table standpoint,
Yeah.
but not from a
Revised.
location or grading standpoint.
It's just a revised plan, just probably didn't make it to Chris to stamp.
But we had been in front,
Yeah.
about 2 months ago, we were in front of conservation with this
So
exact
do we
same.
need a stamp, with the approved stamp on it?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just send the revised plans to Chris and he just stamps them,
Yeah.
since they've already been before Concom.
Nothing has changed location-wise, what was in front of
Yeah,
Concom.
Okay.
I mean, I think we can still use the same language, and it'll just get stamped. Okay. So, it's interesting to say, okay, so I'm gonna try to move, to approve the plan for the Driftwood Realty Trust, the two parcels at 2038 and 2040 Main Road. It is with a shared system, and it's a 3-bedroom repair, and it would be subject to conservation approval, a local upgrade approval waiver for a site well setback to 67 feet, an abutters setback 2034 for the well of 50 feet, and a property line setback for, which property?
2042.
For 2042 at 8.9 feet, 10. There would be a deed restriction of 3 bedrooms for 2038 and 1 bedroom for 2040. There'll be 3 years of well testing for all the properties that have well setback waivers and a hold harmless agreement. And is there anything?
Do they need to be 2 hold harmless agreements for each
They're
property?
sharing the well and they're sharing the septic, I don't know, I think,
Well, I think we would,
We're just
There-
approving
there-
this plan, so I think it only requires one.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hold harmless agreement. So, I mean, I think the hold harmless agreement can, because you can have one owner can include both, reference to both trusts.
right, here's the certification for both properties, I think Nancy was looking for that. It's
Okay,
on the plan, but I think she wanted it just on the form also.
got it.
And, I just want to add a thing that this approval is conditioned upon the owner and the trust owners meeting compliance with the provision Title V for shared systems.
The easement, O&M, and the O&M is
Maybe
really on
TNT
the
too.
manufacturer's O&M,
Yeah,
but the financial mechanism is what you're looking for, right?
yeah,
I'm assuming.
it's a little bit, yeah, because it's, yeah. I don't know that, yeah.
I mean, we can throw something in there, it's kind of a weird situation where it's the same owner, but it's.
Right, so, yeah, we can think about that, but, yeah.
And total nitrogen testing.
Yeah, I did say 3 years of well testing. I did say that.
You said well testing,
I-
but total
I-
nitrogen.
3 years.
Oh, I don't know, because I don't know what we're doing. I defer to Tanya on that.
It should be, it's a.
Yeah, it's 2 years, so,
Okay.
because you guys are using an Avantex?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's 2 years of total
Okay,
nitrogen testing.
2 years of total nitrogen
Yeah,
testing.
yeah, we literally have a cesspool about 30 feet from the existing well.
Just wonderful.
So I know even the baseline is gonna be a little high before
Okay.
this gets installed.
Did you get all that, Bob?
I did.
Okay, then I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay,
great, thank
thanks.
you. I'll try to reconcile everything with Nancy in the morning, or,
Oh,
She in this week?
No, she's not. She'll be
Okay.
back on Monday.
okay, we'll do that next week. Great, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Good night. Oh, it is. There's not much choice there.
I know. I did a shed system in Swansea with the same owners of 2 separate entity lots, and we had to go down the path. It was a couple of some deeded restrictions, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Sit down, Greg. Welcome. So, our next matter is review of a plan for Lee and Diane DeRozier. Is that it? It's 139 Donovan Lane, a 3-bedroom repair on a plan dated 10/14/24.
Good evening, folks. Mark Roberts, Analysis and Design Engineering. I've got some abutter notices. I'll give you holding the cards tonight.
Yes, I am, thank you.
I don't know if any of the abutters here, I know Mr. Nicholas is not here, so we would have heard or seen him already. So what we've got is a small parcel of land at 139 Donovan's Lane. It's 12,420 square feet. Added to that parcel is a deeded parcel of land lying to the north, which is the location where the proposed repair system is located. So we've got plumbing leaving the lot, and that parcel of land has been conveyed and is deeded over to the DeRosiers. So there's no issue that I can see associated with that additional land that they need for the siting of the soil absorption system. The pretreatment unit, this bottomless sand filter, the pretreatment unit, is a Fuji CEN5 nitrogen reduction system, actually a rather well-performing nitrogen reduction system. This is my first one here in Westport with featuring the Fuji. It discharges to a small pump chamber, then up to the bottomless sand filter. And given the very small parcel that I was left to work with for this, and the Westport River to the west, we've got some setbacks of distances for system components. This is going through as an RDA on the conservation. Okay. So we'll So the waivers or variances that I have here, first, the distance of the bottomless sand filter to the east and north property lines is only 5 feet versus 10. The setback distance of the soil absorption system, BSF, to the private water supply well is 50.9 versus 100 feet. The distance of the Fuji tank to the private water supply well is 27.8 versus 50. That is a variance, as I've learned in prior hearings. Setback distance of the proposed pump chamber is less than 50 feet. That's at 33.5 feet that I have it as shown on the parcel. And then the horizontal distance between the toe of the slope of the grade around the bottomless sand filter to the property line is not 10 feet off the property line. So that is the swale or other drainage system is within the 10 feet. So we have that property is currently owned by Mr. Nicholas, and this was as they negotiated for the property. So there is some clearing and some removal of trees around the bottomless sand filter that is off property, and a small amount of grading up to the property line. And that too is considered in my eyes a variance. It's not in the 405 section. So
Okay.
there's a little list here of things. I think it's about the best we can do. Attempting to locate these tanks 50 feet away from that well would put us significantly closer to the Westport River, and I was trying to keep it away from the steep slope and also the buffer zone to the river. So this is what we have today.
So yeah, I think like Mark said, this is probably the best they can do on this lot with the land and the river off to the west. So I don't see anything more that they can do. They are using the Fuji system, which is a very good system. And I think there's only a second or third one we've used in town, so.
I have a question. The last one about the toe.
To the bottom of the slope, there's a small amount of sloping away from the tank, so that's called the toe.
Thank you.
Right.
I had a question about it, but which I probably should have talked to Matt earlier about, because I was trying to align it with what, the Title V provision was, and there's, and if I have it aligned right, that I guess the toe of there's a toe of the slope is a minimum of 5 feet from the property line.
That's correct.
But then it requires, and if it's beyond the property line, it's allowed if there's an impermeable barrier. Is that part of the regulation?
beyond the property line?
I'm not familiar with that, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, maybe it's not the right,
I believe where the impervious barriers come is if the toe of the slope, if there's not a 10-foot separation between the bottom of the system and the toe of the
okay,
existing grade, that's where we have to put poly barrier.
okay.
So those are two
Yeah,
different
I
things.
wasn't
They are two
quite
different
clear.
things,
Yeah, I wasn't quite clear on it.
because a poly barrier into the grade is not really gonna
Okay.
help for surface runoff,
Okay.
actually. And what we could sometimes do would be to put some sort of a surface swale where you come into where you're close to the property line, but it just doesn't seem to make sense out in the woods here to start. For that small slope, it's not like we've got a big grading change.
And there's also a sieve analysis here?
Yes,
Okay.
Are you asking for the civils instead of the
there was also a perk test done.
I saw that with both.
Right, so there is a sieve that's required per Rhode Island design
Oh, okay.
requirements. We do not use a percolation rate, but we use a sieve analysis.
Because you
Okay.
weren't asking for that in the
That is correct, there is a perk
Okay.
test here.
Okay, yeah, I want to.
So the size of the equivalent system is still based on the perk rate, but the sizing of a bottomless sand filter is by the soil category, which is why we sometimes do both.
Okay.
Unless we're
Okay.
clearly going towards a bottomless sand filter, I would argue
Okay,
there's really not much sense.
but for our purposes, I had a question mark next to it, because we don't need it as a condition of our,
No, it's a condition of the bottom of sand filter
Yeah, okay.
approval.
All right. Okay. All right. So,
You want me to take a step
sure,
back?
yeah.
I move that we approve the plan dated 10/14/24
Mm-hmm.
For a 3-bedroom repair at 139 Donovan's Lane, owned by Lee and Diane DeRoches, with the variances as written in the plan, because they were extensive. With the following condition, hold harmless agreement, 3-bedroom deed restriction, total nitrogen testing for 2 years, water analysis for 3 years, Matt,
3 years of water
Yeah.
analysis, yes.
and Concom review.
Did we get the whole harvest in there?
I did.
She did.
Okay,
This
good.
is
I
the
was-
first thing I put
Yeah,
that.
okay, all
I
right.
do that for you, Phil.
Oh, thank you. And I think, just for the record, to distinguish that so there's essentially a local upgrade approval waivers for the setback of the BSF and the setback of the well setback for the from 100, for the well that's going from 50 feet to 9 feet, but it is a kind of a variance approval for the well in which the distance is being reduced to 27.8 feet, and a variance for the toe of the slope setback from the property line. And so I think for those who are making a finding of that there's really no feasible alternative that would comport with maximum feasible compliance in those regards, because we'd be required to make a formal finding as part of the process. So I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
The baseline water test was requested. I did not have it available for this time. I'd speak to Nancy about that, so the baseline is coming. But we do
Okay.
have P-night here, so
Right,
she told me it wouldn't hold up the hearing, but the ball got dropped there, my bad.
okay, all right.
All right, Mark.
I didn't
thank
drop
you.
the ball.
All right, happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Also, is there time permitting for me to bring up a topic for your consideration and thought for the future, or do you have other hearings?
No, this is,
Can I have one more minute of
yes,
your
of
time?
course.
The topic is accessory dwelling units, and I think we're gonna be hearing a lot about those from what I am hearing. I've got a property in Westport on Longwood Drive that has a 3-bedroom existing dwelling. the design of the septic was installed certified as a 4-bedroom septic
We were
system.
just talking about that.
Yeah, so there was a gentleman here, it's gonna be a topic at our next meeting.
Okay,
So
so,
But
Discuss how to
if you
deal
want to
with
make a
that.
pitch about it, go ahead.
so I did mention it to Matt, and I thought in a case like this, that the easy solution for these folks would be just to tie in the 1-bedroom accessory dwelling unit, which is currently proposed to be a detached ADU on the property, plenty of room, that shouldn't be a dilemma, and then pump into the tank with the 1 or 4-bedroom design flow.
Right.
In reading, and I discussed this with Matt, in reading that, I saw that with an occupancy permit associated with the ADU, that would force us towards a D-night system. So I questioned that, and I said, well, this is sort of a unique case. And further, I also questioned, and after the fact, I spoke to Matt, if this was an attached accessory dwelling unit, which does not require an occupancy permit, might that change anything for the considerations that the board would be having for this particular case or in general? I think it's a pretty good question, but gee, I looked once, twice, and well, what if it was attached? There would be no occupancy permit per se associated with an addition to serve as an accessory dwelling unit.
Which is to say that the property this is gonna tie into doesn't currently have a D9.
Does not.
So,
Yeah.
so in the reg, it says if you're gonna build this structure that needs an occupancy permit, you have to have D9. So, we started talking back and forth, will this property have to add D9 to it? And, it's a little different than the gentleman that was in earlier in the discussion. So that's, something he was asking. I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're just gonna go by what's written, I would say yes.
Right.
But I don't know how the board would wanna handle these cases, because we're gonna start seeing a few of them.
I think you will.
Yeah. And that's right, because it would literally meet the, definition of an increase in actual flow. I don't think that, as I was saying to the gentleman previously, I don't think that when that was, drafted, we adopted the Title V definition for consistency, but then, where, didn't really anticipate, these circumstances necessarily, coming up at the time. And so, we'll have to look at the variations and see what kind of principles we want to apply.
Fair enough. I just
Yeah,
thought it's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of a unique one that I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to take
yeah,
a minute and
yeah,
just
yeah,
say, that's something to
yeah,
think
but
about, because
I think
you're
that's
gonna.
like a tip of the spear thing kind of thing. I think, but you're right, you'll be seeing a lot of,
Okay.
all right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you
Yeah,
hearing me
yeah.
out on this one. And there's nothing to say in a case like this when an ADU gets added to an existing 4-bedroom design with 3 bedrooms, that after that increased flow comes, that this currently passed the Title V, I did have a Title V done, that might lead to next year, next month, too. There's no guarantee, I would never guarantee that, the system's gonna be fine. It's fine at time 0. So then we're gonna be seeing, well, what happens if we do that? Would that be where one would start thinking about the D-night might be an option, size of the lot, et cetera? It's just another consideration that it's sort of an interesting
Yeah, well,
tangent to this for us to dwell on.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Happy
Thanks, so
Thanksgiving.
that'll give us
holiday.
something to chew on Thanksgiving. We'll be thinking about it.
Let's hope there's plenty to chew on.
Yes, exactly,
Thank you so much.
All right. So are there any other matters that we haven't need to address? No? All right.
Being there no further business, I move that we adjourn this meeting at 4:57 PM.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.